In every record there's a story to be told. Into the world of music and more. Music and melodies and memories are in store. From Elvis to polka, we have it all. And Kenny's music and more, you'll have a ball. You'll have a ball. You'll have a ball.
Well, hello, welcome everybody. We are only about 2 months in the making on this episode.
It should really be good.
It should be, and it is. We are lined up with some great conversation about to come because this selection that we've got on our menu today is it is very good. It is avant-garde, as I've been told a few times. So I figure I better drop that once. But we've been late and delayed, so Clint has been having some family issues. So I think, how's that going, Clint? How's
Medical,
Mom
yes,
doing?
we're all good.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So we are ready to go this week, and so family's well, and that's just hopefully perfectly in time
That's what
for
you
Christmas.
want for Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
So hopefully all of you are doing well with your families and have a great Christmas lined up. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Brad because Brad is his selection tonight, and he is feeling like doing something a little underground. So let's see what he has on this.
Wow.
Deep cut.
Yeah, I have for this show albums in queue waiting to do my favorite albums. And so it was even hard to pick this one, but picked it when we were ready to do the show, and then it was delayed. But I have chosen the Velvet Underground and Nico, the first Velvet Underground album, which was released in March of 1967. Featuring Lou Reed, John Cale, Sterling Morrison, and Mo Tucker, and listed as Andy Warhol, the producer. But he, as time has gone on, it has been discovered that he didn't have a whole lot to do with the musical production of it. He did create the cover, and of course this was the house band for a lot of his factory, what was going on there in his art world. So yeah, we listened to this tonight. I'm not sure if a few of our members will need counseling afterwards or what, but it explores, the album explores some dark themes, and I think focuses in on Lou Reed's writing abilities and what he was, trying to do with his career in writing songs. And I think he had a deep appreciation for writers and poetry and that sort of thing, literature, that sort of thing. But somehow became a musician and met John Cale in New York, and they formed this band, the Velvet Underground. They made 4 albums. There's a 5th album that is
Meh.
yeah, it's kind of meh. It doesn't have, I think it only has one original member of the group left in it in 1971 or so, 1972. But anyway, we listened to this tonight, and so I don't know, do you want me to go speak
full
more
speed.
about
Yeah,
it?
keep going.
And then you guys can...
So why is it? What was it that motivated you to get into this and try it? 'Cause
Okay.
it was when you said it was in the 80s, right?
Well, yeah, and you could see posted right now, you could see the banana cover. That actually looks like it's one that you could peel. This is a printed one that I showed you here. And you peel the banana and it becomes this, a pink banana. So this is Andy Warhol and his pop art kind of thing going on. The reason I chose this is because I think, for 2 reasons. One, I did some reverse engineering, as some of us have talked about here, where you like a certain artist and you go, well, what made that artist do and write the way he does, or he or she? And so when I did, are you timing me on this? David Bowie?
Absolutely not.
Okay, David Bowie. how far he liked the Velvet Underground, and I thought, well, why? What was it? What was that motivated him? And someone had actually brought him a test pressing back to England in '67 or sometime in that time frame, and he was very influenced by it, liked some of the things that they did, and so that's why I went back and researched it. The other thing is, I had heard that this album influenced so many bands. Brian Eno said that the album sold so poorly when it came out, but everyone who bought the album formed a band. And I don't know, it's because they thought, hey, I could do that. That's not that difficult. Or if it was just so much about expression and doing what you want to do in a band that created that, that idea that I could have a band and I want to do this. So for those two reasons, I think I explored the music and, just discovered what the Velvet Underground were all about. And I don't always appreciate the Andy Warhol connection. I'm not dissing him, but it's like I think the band ultimately didn't really want that in the end, and they broke off. I think the second album cover is actually designed by Andy Warhol, but he had nothing to do with the band beyond this first album, really.
And if respond in the chat if you got the very, very deep lyrical thing that Brad did, intentional or otherwise, to do what you want to do. I was going, I love you, Suzanne.
Yeah, so. Thank you. I didn't even catch that. Clint's way ahead of me.
Okay.
So it must be that Mountain Dew you're drinking. So,
okay.
Okay.
Great value.
So,
what are you putting in this, Kenny?
Yeah. So Lou Reed, formed this band, and it was actually, I feel, very anti-hippie, anti-West Coast, and again, that's not a diss. That was just something different going on out there. That whole love, peace, we can change the world. I think they saw things a little differently in New York, and the grittiness of the town and some of the issues and problems. Maybe they wrote songs about some dark themes. And I will also say this: when if somebody said you don't have to go to New York to experience New York if you listen to a Lou Reed album. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where I think he was true to his his upbringing and what he was as a musician in New York City. So
I don't have a whole lot of knowledge of Lou Reed, but the two things that really stand out to me is that his music has always seemed to me has been very observational in nature, kind of like along the lines of what you're saying. And also it seems like he has always seemed to have a disdain for whatever everybody else is gushing over, which would fall right in line with what we're talking about here. He's like a counter to the counterculture.
Yeah, well said. Well said. So I think we'll open it up now to any other comments, and then I'll circle back around and talk about the collectability of the album, unless you'd like to have me do that right now, Kenny.
Well, I'll intro that for you, because
okay, you take it from,
and I'll give you.
I'll stay in my lane, buddy. Sorry.
So I'm a picker for those of you that don't know.
He had one.
I like to buy and sell stuff. That's how this whole thing came about. Is I was poor. I was bankrupt, and started going to garage sales and picking up stuff. And so as I started to buy things and flip them, I go online and I look at what are the best valuable albums of all time. And so I see this Banana album, and it says Andy Warhol on it, and I have no clue about it, but I see, this is a very valuable item. So when we were opening the store, before it was open, we were going through boxes in the back, and it was me, you, and someone else. And I can't remember, it was Mike.
Yeah, I was here.
And I remember I was going through, oh my gosh. And I might have even said God. But, and they were like, what? And Brad comes running over, and I look and I show him the banana. And Brad grabs it. And so I ended up selling that album in the store here. It took about 6 months, but because not everyone wants to run out to buy a $250 album. So, but that was cheap compared to some of the prices on them, right, Brad?
Yeah, so there is a collectability about this record because it initially sold so poorly, and the other thing I should mention is if you want to run out and listen to this album, you should try to listen to the mono because it has a much better presentation. The band members even felt like the mono had a lot more strength. The bass sounds better. Everything, just the whole mix overall. The whole experience is better in mono. It has been reissued in mono, so it's not impossible to find. But original pressings are tough, and there were a lot of complications because they had this guy on the back cover. This is one of Andy's movies, and they had this Emerson lawsuit going on, and so they pasted big black stickers over this to be able to sell the albums while the lawsuit was going on. And they also had versions where they were airbrushed out. You can see on the picture that is on your screen right now, that one is an Emerson photo, but then was brushed out, airbrushed out into something like
So the
this.
earliest versions are the ones that are not airbrushed out.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, and they are very sought after by collectors. And mostly, I think, because there's a collectability about it. But again, it was a very influential album. And it's still in print. There's still lots of issues about it. They keep reissuing it. This one's a colored vinyl one. They have
color is
mono. It's, I think it's,
It was yellow.
Just like the banana? Oh, no, it's orange. Yellow.
Splatter, yeah. Macaroni and cheese yellow.
Macaroni and cheese yellow.
but it's an interesting album, and I like the first three albums a lot. The fourth one is good too, and I would recommend all of them. But they all kind of have a different flavor to them. When you got to the third and fourth album, there was a little bit more pop sensibility to it, and not as unpolished sound. They had a little bit more of a song feel to them, where these were experimental. They could have been backgrounds to Andy's films and stuff like that.
Well, one of the things that I read about this too, and you could probably attest to that, is that the lack of commercial success was due to Lou Reed's controversial language, right, and lyrics. So
Yeah.
a lot of people refused to play it. So if
Radio
you can't get commercial
stations,
success, you
yeah.
can't.
Radio stations wouldn't play it. Some record stores would, didn't want to sell it because of the association of some of that, the dark themes on there.
When you've got a song titled Heroin, you know that's probably not going to be making the rotation.
Hey, that's my favorite song.
That was not a single.
And I mean, that coupled with just the bizarre instrumentation on it, too. Like, yeah, no, it would be a huge commercial success.
And, when you have a song that's almost 6 minutes long, 7 minutes long, that's never going to make rotation either.
One thing I'll say about that though is that Lou Reed was never sugarcoated anything. He would tell people exactly what he was writing about. Where a lot of artists would talk about the same themes and would never tell you what it is, and you would have to go through and try to associate that themselves. There's a lot of songs over the course of time that have been somewhat famous or popular, and then you go back and 20 years later somebody says, "Oh, I wrote this song about that," and you're like, "Oh my God, I can't," So
that makes sense, because a lot of poets are like that, right? They don't want to explain it. They want to leave it up to you for your own interpretation.
Yeah, Lou's lyrics have been, made into books and things like that because he fell more into that literary kind of person, writer / poet, that kind of thing, and so you can go out and buy his lyrics in a book.
Yep.
So was Lou a poet that became a musician, or a musician that?
Want to be a poet.
That's a great question, and I don't even know the answer to that.
Now,
But I think I know he recorded stuff as far back, I think, as to 1957,
okay.
and was unsuccessful. He worked for Pickwick. They wrote songs for other people. They did a bunch of stuff, and gave songs away up until about 1965, when they made the demo.
Well, I just love that question, because
Well,
it seems to me like another deep dive all of its own of this whole category of people and songwriters who are poets. Chris Christopherson, Bob Dylan.
But you wonder, is the music a gateway for their poetry? Because just as there's not market for
Exactly.
poets. You know,
Yeah.
you're not going to
Very
become a
niche.
famous poet
Poet,
and become a millionaire.
Right.
If you're also a rock star, but your songs
That
are
might work.
poetry,
Yep.
it might work for you. So I wonder if there was some if that was part of the mentality of it,
Mhm.
this is just a way for me to get my poetry out there.
Well, was this the formation of Velvet Underground? Was this album at this time? Because this album you have the intersection of, the supermodel and the rock band and the multimedia artist at a time where multimedia might as well have been a Greek word to most
Right.
Americans.
Right.
So you had this confluence of art and music and you could say literature as a writer all coming together. So, who knows how what sparked that all coming together.
And let me explain that to everybody too. Well, we've had this conversation. So this is recorded in '66. It's released in March of '67. And so if we look at it in the context of other records, this is going to be what Brad says is the second phase of rock, where we're moving out of the early '50s guy and things like the Beatles and Love Me Do.
And who else?
Who else?
Elvis.
Okay.
I'll just say it, Elvis.
17.
17 minutes. And so I was trying not to say it for those of you who get this on the show. And so we are moving into now Sgt. Pepper is going to come right back after this. And what are some other things? So we're seeing the changing of the guard here.
Yeah, the first Pink Floyd album.
Yep.
The first era of rock was, I think, like Buddy Holly and some of the things that even like the Rolling Stones and the Mersey Beat and the British Invasion. But by '67, everything had kind of a big change
I think
there.
when I
Started to
think
shift.
about it, in terms of, it was like the artist take those early things. It was really formulaic, and how it was industry
Really.
created. A lot of it felt like it was there was a formula. These are how the songs. These are how the albums are. So then something like this comes out, and it feels like it's the artist taking a
Artist-driven.
stand, and this is where we're going with it.
And that's a good point, because some of it was just counterculture, right? So you're talking in the 50s where everything is upbeat and tempo and everything is well and grand and great. And then all of a sudden you get to the 60s and we start to get into Vietnam, and the youth are starting to see that, hey, it's not all unicorns and rainbows like everybody was singing when we were growing up.
Right.
That's just not how the world is. And I think that's why you see the shift in
The sound changing.
Yeah, right. The soundtrack of people's lives just kind of changes with what's going on in society.
That's
so I think that was kind of the big shift there.
Yeah,
That's
the
big, because
counter-
Vietnam is a huge movement. Huge movement.
It's
in our
absolutely
country.
it's a huge movement.
But the counterculture just in general was getting its wheels under it at that point. So when I was going to Bismarck State College in the 90s, a bunch of us got together and we were able to rope in a bunch of faculty to put on a one-semester class on the 60s. The president of the university, although he had the tweed jacket with the elbow patches and looked like Mr. Bentley from the Jeffersons, like shockingly so, the dude was bringing in first pressing Mother of Inventions. The guy had an unparalleled record collection. He focused on music. One of the English teachers came in and talked about the writing of the era, the music teachers, and somebody came in and talked fashion. The dean of students was a bona fide Kennedy assassination investigator. He came in and talked politics and things. And it was amazing what nexus you had right around this time where, yes, all of these things came together, and there was an incredible culture shift, and that's represented in the music of the time. The attitudes of it, the techniques, the need to break free from the bubblegum stuff that their parents had grown up with. That was just a lot of things coming together all at once.
Well, let me come back over here to something you said too, and maybe you can mention a little bit about it. That you had made a mention of some of the different kind of instruments and things that were going on that you heard and you picked out of this.
Yeah, I had to ask Brad what he thought it was, and I forget the guy. Was it Cale?
Yeah,
on here?
John
You said
Cale.
he's a. Was it a?
He was a viola.
Viola.
He was playing viola.
But yeah,
Classic.
yeah, just the way he's playing it, very.
Unconventional.
Yeah, unconventional, not natural, but getting some interesting sounds. But I mean, yeah, it's just. I don't know.
So exactly, and so I think that it's on that experimental level too. where they actually used noise and, as dissonance in the chords and things like that, which, they're not going to sell a lot of records that way. There were 2 singles off this album, I believe 2 or 3, but they, I think, were the Nico songs.
That is
Nico-
surprising, right there.
Because you could put her on the cover.
Put her on the cover. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
I suppose.
So Nico only was with the Velvet Underground on this one album. You can see her picture in the upper left there with John Cale, and she was a fashion model. She also posed for record covers at the time, and some of those are fairly collectible. But she then had a solo album on Verve that was released later in 1967, which contained Lou Reed songs, or what might have been Velvet Underground songs. Notable on that is the song Chelsea Girls, which was about the Chelsea Hotel in New York. But it's a pretty interesting song, and carries some of the Velvet Underground feel, but definitely has Nico's vocals on it. Very distinguished.
Was that a duet with Yoko?
No.
I don't think our speakers can handle that.
Mike, your thoughts?
On the album?
Yes.
On Nico? Well,
Both.
well, I didn't have, I've never heard the album. I've been aware of the album for decades, ever.
Tired
So-
of people talking about it,
Right.
maybe. No.
No, but but I didn't know what to. I was expecting more.
Maybe garage band sound.
No.
Or...
I don't know. I wasn't expecting it to be just as underproduced.
Oh,
As it is.
okay.
Okay.
Unpolished.
I was
Raw.
expecting it to be really not over the top, but so that was a surprise. Aside from the Nico stuff, I mean, I probably never, seek those songs, but the Lou Reed, I mean, I dug it.
Cool.
I mean, I like that kind of where it's. Some things just get, when it's overproduced, it's too much.
Right.
Sometimes there's a fine line. But I like things that are just basic, guitar, drums, and bass, and
Simple.
here it is. Who's texting in the middle of the show?
It's a
Yeah, I put it on
question.
mute.
Is it your girlfriend? So, no, but I wasn't a fan of the Nico stuff, and I didn't know much about her.
Which one was your favorite song?
Probably Run, Run, Run.
Oh,
Maybe Heroin.
mine was Heroin.
I know that was yours.
I really like the tempos going up and down, kind of documenting possibly like what you had mentioned,
Maybe
the
even
drug.
addiction or
Yeah.
something.
But the
And I
lyrics
don't
were
think
good.
it glamorizes it. I'm not.
No,
It's not an invite. It's
A warning.
it's a warning. I think it's. Yeah.
Well, when you asked me why I laughed, because you were talking about reverse engineering Bowie to this. And I remember, and I chuckled because I remembered reading an article, Frank Zappa, his birthday today, would have been his birthday today. Anyway, he had he did not like the Velvet Underground at first. And he made it very well known to everybody that he didn't like the Velvet Underground. So I had to go back and listen. What in the world would Frank Zappa, who does all kinds of avant-garde music and was open and try anything, what is it that Frank Zappa says he doesn't like? So I go back and listen to it, and I'm like,
What is it? Nico's voice? No, I'm sorry.
it just didn't compute to me. I just didn't understand. Well, doing a little more research into it, he actually had shared the bill with them. early in New York, and he was not a drinker. He did not use drugs. He was anti everything. They did a lot of that. He didn't like it. He said some stuff. He came around later in the late 80s or mid to late 80s and said he really liked the album. He really enjoyed the album. So it was kind of a redemption arc for that. But that's why I kind of chuckled, because I was like, what was I thinking of? Why did I listen to it? Because it was way out of my league. And it's not really guitar centric, so it wouldn't have necessarily fallen into my orbit, right? So yeah, that's I was like, oh yeah, that's why. The neat thing about this though is what I've always liked to do is, and all through the genres, all through the years, as styles have changed, you get a very distinct East Coast West Coast sound, right? If you think about it in terms of like thrash metal from the 80s, it was very different on the coast. The hair metal from the 80s was very different sounding on the East and West Coast. Rap from the East and West Coast is very different sounding. And I mean, that followed back all the way this time. It was all hopeful, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of the West Coast stuff at this time period is hopeful, optimistic, anti-war type stuff. And then this is just like, no, wake up and smell the coffee. This is what's actually going on.
But this is what, I mean, that was what was going on
Yep,
in New
yep,
York.
yep.
That was their
Absolutely.
lives. That's what they saw. That's how they lived.
Pragmatic versus hippie.
You know,
and
that's a thing. A lot of, Lou Reed's a New York guy. He's New York. This is a lot of what was going on in the West Coast. A lot of those people and a lot of the hippie movement were all transplants. They moved out there because that's what was happening.
More accepting.
So it wasn't that wasn't their world that they'd grown up in, and that, I mean, New York was the world Lou Reed grew up in, and that's what he knew.
Yep.
So now I prefer the Midwest and Motown.
Okay.
There you go. Just to,
Good for you.
Just to break it off into the middle.
Right.
Right. But of course, eventually Motown goes to Cali. So anyway, anybody else got any last comments on that? For me, it was, I would say, it's generally, I didn't like most of it. It's not my thing, but we were talking about it. That's okay. I'm not one who is going to put anything down. I thought it was very instrumental. I can tell, from some of the comments. I like more rhythmic stuff, with more lyrics that I can relate to, and that's why I really like the song that I did, because the lyrics, I could understand the story of what was going on, of this longing and desperation that I hear of what he's feeling at the time. So not that I like heroin. I've never had heroin, just so you
like
know.
the song, though.
But I like the song.
I was probably like
Or glycerine.
I was probably on the opposite end
Listerine?
of that spectrum as you. I thought I probably wasn't going to dig this album
Okay.
as much as I did. I've heard a few of the songs, and I know Lou Reed, and I like Lou Reed. I enjoy him, but I don't tend to like a lot of that old early punk music. And I thought this would be a lot more punky than it was experimental.
I had the
To
same
be honest,
expectation.
going into it, I ended up enjoying it more. I wish that even with that mono, that bass was a little more prevalent, because it sounded like there's some really cool lines going in
Well,
there,
but
and you
that-
could hear them, but
A lot of that goes to me just trying to mindset how. I mean, it was recorded in a warehouse, so just how was it recorded? How was it mic'd? There's probably only so much they can do mix wise.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
every time they start screeching the viola, I check out. Other than that, I really liked it.
So you can also get
like Nico.
the 1966 demo has been released as you can still find it online.
So what are some of the prices we're going to look at for this record? If you
You
want
know, I haven't, honestly, Kenny, I haven't looked at them lately. The singles that came out are very collectible, but one of them actually had a picture sleeve, and those are over $1,000 now. I don't have one of those.
Well, I
But-
was thinking that some of those early copies when I was looking it up to sell my version a couple of years ago, some of those early copies that are not airbrushed, that still had the banana could sell for upwards of $2,000.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would say
I'd
that's-
easily if you have the original sticker
Unpeeled.
not peeled.
Unpeeled,
Yeah.
unpeeled.
Yeah.
And so, but what would you say if you want to go get a 180 gram and get something new like?
$26.95, and they have a peelable version that came out again.
Oh, do they? Okay.
So if you have to have the peel,
You can get it without spending a bunch of money.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably way easier to produce a cover like that now than it was in 1967 to have something
Yeah,
like
that
that.
would have been a feat,
Yep.
marketing feat.
Well, that was a good 30 minutes on that one. Let's go into our records that we haven't
Okay.
had a chance to talk about. We're going to talk about some of the records. Now, as we do this too, I'll let Josh give us the count here. Or did you do a count?
I haven't done the count
Okay.
yet. I was going to do it at the end.
So we have a lot of votes that came out on these records, and so we picked, each of us picked a record. And of course, the softy that I am, we're going to see how different I am to these guys.
This will be very apparent why he didn't really dig the Velvet Underground record.
For my pick, I picked Air Supply because I am all out of love.
And still lost without you.
Hey, I just bought this on CD in San Antonio back in August, so you'll get no complaints.
Yes, I love this record. I love the
That's
sad,
probably the first-
depressing, moodless music.
First CD that's been sold in 40 years.
Well,
It,
this is the kind of music that gets your ass beat back in the 80s. But now it's actually pretty
I couldn't
decent.
admit that I loved it growing up because all my friends were hair rockers, and so you didn't want to be known as liking Air Supply.
Ooh.
But I'd be back. I'd be like, I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without
we
you.
grew up on that. My mom listened to that record
she?
quite a bit. Yep, when I was growing up, we
So
heard
you
it
did
all
like
the time.
it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they got some very good stuff.
I don't own it, but I liked it.
A lot of great
Whatever
songs on
you
here.
say,
Every
buddy.
Woman in the World to Me. We have Lost in Love. Even the Nights Are Better. Right? There's so many big hits on this one.
All
so
the hits.
all the hits. And Mike
Great-
loves a good
great compilation.
compilation album.
There's not a dud on that, I have to tell you.
Thank you very much.
Well, it should be because it is a greatest hits album. There shouldn't be any misses on it. It's not like
Yeah,
Devo's greatest
shouldn't
misses.
be, but in a perfect world, I've seen a lot of greatest hits CDs.
Lance has got a great story for his.
Oh, this is awesome.
Oh yes.
I wasn't really around this month, so I didn't pick mine. But they did good. You know, like "Love Gun" by Kiss. Which I love the song "Love Gun" by Kiss. Speaking of good bass, that's just a good driving bass line. What else is even on this one?
Johnny, Christine,
Yeah.
16.
Oh yeah,
Blaster
okay. So I mean,
Casper,
this is a pretty solid
And-
Kiss album.
And a wonderful cover of "Then She Kissed Me."
1977.
And this
produced
one-
by Eddie Kramer.
Has this promo little gun in there, so that's fun too. So
Yeah, what's
Oh, he's even got
got
the
it.
bang
Bang.
in there.
so yeah, great.
That's
Just great.
First Kiss album with an Ace Frehley lead vocal on it.
Oh, so that's a
Okay.
cutout, right? That one's a cutout.
That's a
It
cutout.
was a cut corner. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't
Not
know how
priced
many
like
people
that
understand
anymore,
the-
though.
No.
So what is a cut corner? That's a great tip for him. Tell him, what is that?
So there's Brad could probably speak more about it. I could take a shot at it though.
Go ahead.
We had there's a lot of records that will have holes punched through the corner. They'll have the corners cut off. They'll have notches in them. Notches is more of a CD thing, but those are what are called cutouts. Those were when the record companies or mostly the record companies decided that records just needed to be moved. So that was the indication to the record stores or the retailers to mark them down and push them out the door faster.
And it was so much fun going into Budget Tapes and Records or Woolworths or wherever and go to the $2.99 bin and go, oh, I guess I'll pick this up now because it's $2.99
Well,
and not $6.99.
But that was also the indicator for the consumer not to pay full price for it.
Right.
So if you take a cutout and you say go to the store and they've got it as full price, you know you're getting ripped off.
And they were always trying to
Because
move
they
music.
actually sold them back to the label. Didn't that work? They'd set basically them back to the
Yep.
to the
Distributor.
Distributor, yep.
and then
Yeah, some labels would do that with their promos too, and like with CDs, they would actually run them in a bandsaw. There's actually a little bandsaw cut in the jewel case. So
My pick for the month or month and a half was In the Wake of Poseidon by King Crimson. And you can see here that Clint has done his research once again because he has the British textured cover.
British?
The British.
British.
And it's the island pressing. Whereas the one in the store here is the Atlantic. This is an original though. It's got the address for Atlantic Records is 1843 or whatever, Broadway, New York. So this is original pressing. It's also an A stamper on both sides, which I just found that out tonight. So this is in the Wake of Poseidon. Again, I think I was drawn to King Crimson, and I really have to be in the mood to listen to them. I'm not a big prog guy, but I love the guitar work of Robert Fripp and his ideas of fusing this crazy guitar stuff with other sounds and things. I just it was they're fun to listen to. Sometimes a little rough to listen to, but they are King Crimson, especially the first album, which is in my queue. We are going to listen to the first King Crimson album
Great.
At some point.
from 1969 at some juncture. But this is in the Wake of Poseidon.
Spoiler. Spoiler alert.
And I'm guessing I got one vote. Anyway,
Michael.
Mike.
I went back to me. I picked 1990. First Black Crowes album, Shake Your Moneymaker. The interesting thing for me about the Black Crowes as a fan, growing up, coming up through adolescence in the 90s, 90s was, alternative rock, and in the mid-90s getting into the pop punk thing, Green Day. So it's still interesting to me looking back to see how the Black Crowes fit in with all that alternative music and maintain success and grow success at that point. They weren't an alt band. They weren't even in the early, that came out in 1990, so hair metal was still prevalent at that time. They weren't a hair metal band, but they have a big hit with an Otis Redding cover song. So, I mean, they're just a great band, and it's a great debut album.
Wonderful.
Josh.
Oh, okay. Van Halen, OU 812. A follow-up to 5150. This is probably my favorite Van Hagar record. It's just got a lot of cool stuff on it. Very well produced, as most Van Halen records are. The guitar work is phenomenal. We've got Finish What You Started, Black and Blue, Mine All Mine, When It's Love, Cabo Wabo. It's a really, really good record from start to finish. It was similar to 5150. It got a little flack when it came out, that it wasn't a 5150 copy, but that model wasn't going to work again. So this is more of what the guys wanted to do, and there's lots of stories. Sammy Hagar, since the passing of Eddie, he's come out and he's had lots of stories about Eddie coming over to his house in the middle of the night and throwing stones at the patio door window to get Sammy's attention because he had an idea for a song, and some of those songs ended up on here. So, yep, OU812, Van Halen.
and I think that's recently been reissued, right? It has a MoFi, perhaps.
That was
Or,
Foreign Lawful Colonel.
okay,
Foreign
sorry.
Lawful.
Well,
It was in the box
Apple,
set.
that
I
was
stand corrected.
I stand corrected.
because they've been
Just
reissuing
reading your mind.
a lot of the Van Halens. I don't know if it was a MoFi they did with that one.
I don't think the MoFi that's come out yet. It was in the Van Halen 2 box set. So all this Sammy Hagar stuff up until Van Halen 3 when Gary Sharon takes over. That was in the Van Halen 2 box set. So I have several copies of this, but yeah, I think that's the most recent repress
Okay.
of this. MoFi will be doing this because they are systematically going through the Van Halen catalog as we speak. So hopefully we'll get there.
Great album. Yeah, I remember when I was in college, somehow a buddy of mine got a copy of that like a day or two before it was supposed to hit the shelves, and just driving around in his Thunderbird, and he was studying in college, working on how to design speaker enclosures and stuff. So to just drive around in his car with his speakers and jam this before anybody else, that was quite an experience. And lyrically, great album. Well, I went with Huey Lewis Sports because, of course, I wanted to go 80s, and also because I think this is just a fantastic album. One thing I've always said about Huey Lewis and the News is that they just sound like they are having fun whenever they're playing, and that's infectious. People respond to that. So, I Want a New Drug, Heart of Rock and Roll, Heart and Soul. I mean, there's just fantastic stuff on here. I believe I had this on cassette back in the 80s. And something just tipped over downstairs. I wouldn't worry about that.
Cat
That's
lady's
perfectly
back.
normal. Yeah, cat lady's back. So, but yeah, I've always loved Huey Lewis and the News. I think Huey Lewis is a really interesting character if you read a little bit about him, and it's an incredibly fun listen. So that was my album for this time.
I don't know. The only thing I have against him though is he did turn down Michael J. Fox and his band for the.
That's right. They were too darn loud.
They're too down loud. Okay, so Back to the Future. You did catch that referral there, but anyway, yeah. So those are all our albums, and so we all like to pick our own albums, and so we'll put these away and we'll pick some more from the store. All of these are for sale, right? So if you want to check out any of these, come on down. You can play it and buy it.
Yeah, look behind the counter and see where they're at on the wall, and it's a badge of honor for us if somebody buys our album before we get to the next podcast.
Then you win.
You get you get bonus points.
I think there should be some sort of a discount applied to our next purchase, but we can hash that out another time.
Yeah, remember, because we want you to vote for these, so we put these. We all have them up on the front counter now, so you can put in your name, put in a vote for these records, and we can see who has the most votes on some of these.
Since we moved it up front and it's been more of a centerpiece to the for the store, we've got lots more votes. It's hopefully the days of having to pick one of 3 names in the pot is over. So what I've done is most people filled out their card and put a vote in. We'll pick the winner first. I'll have Mike pick the winner for the drawing, and then we'll just go through and we'll just randomly. Well, I'll vote. I'll count the votes while we do that. That's the way we do that. That's why you asked me that earlier.
So this is for $10 in the store. Come in and tell me you heard this, and you'll get $10 off.
Yeah, don't be like
Michael,
Menards.
tell them what
Make
they
sure you
want.
get the terms and conditions correct, right?
Brody won. He picked Air Supply.
Yes! What a great pick! I'd love to give you $10 now, Brody.
Thanks, Brody. We're going to be hearing about that.
You can come and
Brody
have this
is-
for free.
Brody
You
ruined
can just take
Christmas.
that.
Hey,
My
speaking
new
of Christmas,
movie.
there is a Christmas coupon, is there not?
There is a Christmas coupon if you come into the store. It is. Oh, you got the coupon ready after Christmas. So next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 25% off, right? And actually, that looks like it's into January too. So we're gonna have some sales in January.
Ride the lightning.
So I might have forgot to tell him it was only till after Christmas, but hey, that'll be good. Let's move product. No, and it's been another good year. We've grown a little bit over the year. We've had some more sales. We have records coming in, and as everybody know, I should kind of give you a little bit of a lowdown. I do not carry a ton of brand new stuff. I have a few items, and my specialty has always been trying to restore the old stuff. I like to find the old stuff, dig it out, clean it, and bring it to you at a better level than what I found it. And so, we put them all in brand new plastic sheets. That restoration process means that I like to ultrasonically clean them all. I have a $1,500 cleaning system, and I can do that for your records too. I don't think I've ever plugged that. You can bring the records down to me. It's only $3 a record, or 8 for 20, and we'll put them in brand new plastic sheets, and I'll put them in that cleaner for you. And typically, what I like to say is the ultrasonic system will make a record about a half a grade better. So if it is VG, it typically comes out VG plus. If it's VG plus, it comes out excellent. And so the idea is the cavitation of the water penetration onto the record takes the dirt out. It penetrates it and warms it up and gets the dirt out.
You know what? I would normally never say anything like this, but I was up watching a Fighting Sioux hockey game recently, and I happened to stop at a local music store, and lo and behold, they had a Planet P Project CD there that I've been looking for forever. brought it home, and sadly, it is not in the kind of condition I would expect from your shop. So
thanks.
I will be employing your CD polishing
You have
services.
a, yeah. Just so happens he has a machine that can help with that too.
So there's
You know,
that service too.
I've used toothpaste to fix CDs. So
Scratch out from.
Yeah, back before we had
Car-
machines, we had to find ways.
I use car polish.
Car polish?
Car polish, that sort of thing. But yeah, so I
Try
mean,
to fill the gaps.
well, the thing is, if I grab a disc off the shelf here, because I'm a
put it
CD
back
guy,
in.
I don't own a turntable. But if I grab a disc off the shelf here, I don't even look
Brady,
at it. I just
Brody.
know it's in good shape. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I also, that's one of the things that he just mentioned. I also like to clean discs, so if you buy CDs from me, I try to buff them all out. I want them perfect. If I can't get them perfect, we'll just discount them for like $1.
And Kenny likes to offer flattening services too. So if you have vinyl records that have a little warp in them, bring them down. Kenny will assess them, and if there's anything we could do to try to flatten them, there's a couple techniques that we can use to.
She was
try
so
to-
excited too. Josh is the one who works on those, and so I actually give him a bunch of mine. We had a customer come in, which I owe you some money for that one too. She brought me
$1 million.
1 million. So she brought 2 records down, 78s actually, right? weren't they?
78s, yep.
And he got them nice and good, and so she was so stoked.
Was she?
Yeah, so
Cool.
So she was pretty happy we got those all set up, and so we're trying to do what we can to restore. But if you're looking for something, I had somebody call me for something. I looked it up online, and unfortunately, there was nothing even at my supplier, so I can order them in as well. It's just it's not my niche. We have other places in town that do all the brand new stuff, so I try to get some when I can. But
Can we have a?
question?
Yeah, well,
Comment?
so Ricky was asking. He said if he would have voted, he'd have voted for the Black Crowes album.
Oh.
Rick,
That's what I thought you'd say, Ricky.
do you think that Blind Melon was in a similar vein to
Ooh,
the Black Crowes?
Ooh, Mike.
that's not in my wheelhouse.
That's a good question.
I have an answer.
Stylistically, or just that they didn't really fit in with what was going on in the night?
Ooh,
Because I think Blind Melon were still, they were taking more of a page from like kind of the '60s hippie kind of a thing. When you look at how the Shannon Hoon, his style was more of a late '60s hippie kind of thing. So in terms of that, as far as not fitting in with the grunge thing, I would say I'd probably agree with that.
what do you think, Josh?
What Mike said musically, though, not. I wouldn't count them in the same thing. This was kind of the Black Crowes was interesting because we kind of had this resurgent. I actually blame and credit Guns N' Roses for the Black Crowes, and I only say that because Guns N' Roses brought kind of that dirty kind of sound back, people of the streets kind of you know, and that came a lot from they were pretty influenced by Southern rock, and I think once that broke through and it gained so much popularity that it allowed bands like the Black Crowes to say, okay, I don't have to be in this hair metal category,
Right.
I can do other things.
Yeah.
And then I never cared for Southern rock at all growing up ever until I heard the Black Crowes. And then I was like, oh, I get it now. I really enjoyed the Black Crowes. Still to this day enjoy the Black Crowes. And they actually opened the doors to get me to listen to a lot of that other stuff from the 70s. Yeah.
Oh,
And I wouldn't necessarily categorize them. I mean, they are Southern rock.
It sounds
Right.
Southern rock influenced.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're from Georgia, so they're. But yeah, they just to me have an interesting place in that generation of music that was, that was grunge and '90s alt, and then the Black Crowes just kind of slide in there.
And they were another group that got lambasted by the Nirvana takeover. Just kind of all of a sudden you're not anything.
well, that's the interesting
But
shift for me.
They maintained some singles through the '90s,
Yep.
and then what my favorite album from them, which was never released on LP, which from 1998 was By Your Side.
By Your Side.
And that was 8 years on from this album, and but by then, grunge had come and gone and was in the rear view mirror. So
Sadly, while it was a thing, it drowned out a lot of music that should have probably taken precedence to it.
Yep. But it's along the same veins of what we were talking about earlier, right? Where everything is all sex, drugs, and rock and roll growing up. And then by the time my generation got out of high school, and we were like, the world is not nearly that perfect. It is not going to be that easy. You are not going to do all the things you want to do whenever you want to do them. It was kind of a slap in the face to the generation that came out. And that's why grunge took off. Mm-hmm. It was just my generation's response to, it's not all sex, drugs, rock and roll. Just like the 60s, when it shifted from the 50s to the 60s, it's not going to be all bubblegum pop and unicorns and rainbows.
And well, at that time, what I was going to say is that many of us who were kind of like a little bit into the hair bands, like, I was into Guns N' Roses, Poison, loved Poison, Cinderella, all those kind of things. And then when grunge came, but I was also, as we know, and I've kind of talked, like, I was into NWA. I was into rap pretty hard, and listening to a lot of the NWA stuff that was coming out and that kind of thing of the late 80s. Well, then, all of a sudden, Vanilla Ice, right? I was a huge Vanilla Ice man. Well, then, as that changes and Nirvana comes out, I was like, I don't really like this. And then all of a sudden, I jumped on the Garth Brooks bandwagon, like many of my friends, and next thing you know, I'm listening to Travis Tritt and George Strait, and I'm on this country kick, for about 2.5 years until I get back into the rock with the Christian rock of the big mid-90s, about 95-ish. I think I got big into that stuff.
Yeah, but country had a really good run in the early 90s.
Yeah.
I as far as the grunge stuff goes, I'm sorry, but that just seemed like a bunch of suburban white kids trying to manufacture angst.
Oh, I don't know.
What do you think, Judge?
Absolutely not. No way. There were bands that did that and copied that, but I don't say
there were some purists. You're saying
absolutely. There were some people. Kurt Cobain, love him or hate him, he's it's kind of neat that this has come full circle because he's kind of a poet too, right? He was talking about, he wrote down everything and he put a lot of his stuff to music. So he was telling what his perception of what the world was going to do. I don't think you can say that's fair to say about Chris Cornell or any of those people that grew up and came through that. There were some manufactured grunge acts for sure, but I don't think anybody that's an Alice in Chains fan is going to run around and say that they were not being sincere about what they were doing.
Yeah, let me clarify. I'm not talking about the creators. I'm talking about the pop phenomenon, how grunge took off and all of a sudden everything was marketed grunge, whatever.
Well, that's marketing 101, right? You got to go where the audience is.
Yeah.
So the kids took the music and ran with it.
That's what I'm talking about
they
right
took
there.
it right.
Certainly not the creators of
They
the time.
take it as their own, and whether Kurt Cobain really spoke to everybody or they just felt it because they were.
You could not grow up in the 90s and not watch that Smells Like Teen Spirit video and not feel angsty.
Right.
You just couldn't, and I did. I'll be the first one to admit, I did not like Nevermind when it first came out because it had killed the genre that we liked. That's what it did. So I was just opposed to it because it took out what I. But even we were watching it on MTV right before Headbangers Ball came on Saturday nights. So you were watching it and thought, well, no shit, everybody,
right?
Was jumping on this. So
this change. You did. Do you think you realized at the time we're about to see it?
Absolutely.
You did.
It was overnight. It was overnight, just like that. But again, bring everything full circle, right? We're talking about changes from the 60s to the 70s, or from the 50s to the 60s with what we talked Brad's record tonight.
Great point.
Everything is
everything's evolving.
Well, everything happens in cycles, right?
Yeah.
So as you see it happening, now people, we have YouTube people that are literally watching the music world right now, trying to predict when things are going to shift and what's going to be the next big thing, which we never really had before. We never had any warning that Nirvana was coming. It just didn't happen that way.
Well, let me give you my big moment too. So if I was going to say grunge, there is a grunge song that I like that mixes in the classics from the oldies. And so I'll let you define the band first. Let's see which one of these guys can get it first. Are you ready? Oh where,
can't
oh
sing that.
where can my
You
baby
can't sing that.
be?
Yeah, you just demonetized
I
us.
just demonetized us.
But
Whoops.
Pearl Jam, of
Pearl
course.
Jam. So I love
Another
old
poet.
songs, and it went back to that, and I love stuff like that that is nostalgic to me. I grew up with stuff like that with my dad's music and mom's music, and so here you take this grunge sound, right, and mixing this great flavor to it, and so I love that. Absolutely beautiful.
I don't think. I mean, as far as that song goes, it's a great song by Pearl Jam, but they didn't add much to what the original. I mean, they were pretty true to the original.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, it wasn't
A new flavor.
Eddie Vedder rewriting the book on that song.
Favorite
but,
Pearl Jam song? Go. Stumped him.
Maybe it's got to be something off the second Pearl Jam.
Okay, here you go. Quickly, we've got a couple minutes to burn. Give me. I know there's other examples of hair bands, grunge bands, and other ones doing throwback songs. Go. I know. Didn't Van Halen? David Lee Roth did California Girls.
Just a Gigolo.
Just a Gigolo.
Well, Dancing in the Street. They did a bunch of stuff early Van Halen.
Smoking in the Boys Room was.
I was just gonna go to Smoking in the Boys Room. Yep.
What was the Poison one off the second album? Was a cover.
A good
Mama
song.
Don't
a good
Dance.
song.
Mama Don't Dance. Yes.
Yep. So.
I'm waiting for the Pearl Jam song, Michael.
He's buying
I'm
time
not-
for
I
you.
don't know. I'll say,
Why is it Yellow Ledbetter?
why is it? It isn't.
Oh,
What is your favorite Pearl Jam song? And
guitar
why
work
is
on
it
that
Yellow
song?
Ledbetter?
I don't know. Did I have something about this? I can't remember all the
I'm
stuff
just
I
asking
say.
you. I just
No, it's probably Glorified G or
that's a good one.
something off the second album. Maybe the first song, Go, Don't Go.
Yellow Ledbetter only doesn't make sense until you see the lyrics, read the lyrics the first time, and then it makes perfect sense every time you hear it from that point forward.
Oh, the lyrics don't even matter when you just listen to that guitar work on that song. Oh my god, I haven't listened to a whole lot of Pearl Jam.
But
I
I
need to
kind of-
experience more of their
I'm
early
into
stuff,
Pearl
but
Jam up
that's-
into
oh.
No Code.
Oh.
Like, and that's kind of where it drops for me on Pearl Jam.
You didn't like Dark Matter then?
So who is up next week? I mean, next month, the next time we go. Hard Rock
guy.
Mike.
Oh.
You got it ready?
I do have it ready.
Oh. Any teasers?
It makes reference to. There's a song that makes a reference to Andy Warhol.
Oh.
Oh.
It's a '90s album.
Is there any more comments to look at
Well,
for
who-
tonight?
Who won the vote, by the way, on this?
Yeah, who won the vote?
Oh, you did.
Oh.
Huey Lewis in the News.
Oh, somebody here. We got a comment on here.
Huey.
It says, there's a comment on YouTube. Somebody just texted me.
Have you done James Taylor? We haven't done James Taylor. Nutshell by Alice in Chains. Lyrics are devastating.
Very depressing, but a great
A
album.
great album. Fantastic album.
Kenny, you and Nick went crazy with the air guitar on Van Halen Jump.
Van Halen
Fixed
Jump.
now.
There you go. I was just getting yelled at because we didn't mention the comments. So
Oh, there we go.
When is the next show going to be?
January, huh?
January. It's going to be the 2026.
The third. Should be the third Sunday, right?
third Sunday. So I think that would be like January 18th. Does that work for everybody?
Seemingly.
Should be.
Should hope so. Hopefully we should be on January 18th. And with that, it's been exactly an hour.
Yeah, but
Cool. You got a last comment? I'll let you go.
well, I was just thinking. I got my Santa hat on and everything. I was
Looking
wondering if
forward.
anybody had any.
Oh.
Yeah, well, we're not limited to an hour. Who's got a favorite Christmas album or a Christmas song?
Oh.
or whatever?
Oh,
Good
yeah.
question.
Happy Scholadays by Real Big Fish.
There we go.
Take that. Happy Scholadays.
Okay, 1989. Brain Drain, The Ramones, Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight.
Yeah, there you go.
Good one,
Okay,
good one.
nice.
Overall, my favorite Christmas song or old traditional is "I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day," which I love the lyrics. As far as the pop world, rock world, you know, I was thinking of Slade's "Merry Christmas, Everybody," but that wouldn't be my favorite one. So I would gravitate toward the Little Drummer Boy with Bing Crosby and David Bowie, but I'm not even going to let that be picked either. I just can't. I can't pinpoint one. I like the Beach Boys Christmas record. I think that's fun.
Got some of those down here.
The Dylan one is kind of a rough listen. If you listen to it a few times, you have to be in the mood. Yeah,
Merry Christmas.
that's right.
I'm the odd man out in this group. Then I'm not a Christmas music guy. If I had to pick a song, I could maybe go with Paul McCartney's "Wonderful Christmas Time." I can stomach. I'm a big Paul McCartney guy.
Yeah,
I love Paul and the
but
Beatles,
that
and that one's
song is
that's a perfect Christmas where it doesn't annoy me. I think working retail killed me.
That song doesn't
3
annoy
years
you?
at Menards just.
Christmas carols are over.
It's so bad. I don't know.
How could
I guess
that song not annoy
Twisted
you?
Sister's Christmas album isn't bad. I remember my mom listening to that one a lot, but that was another one overplayed. Get this Christmas music out of here. So I don't know.
Well, my favorite is Jars of Clay version of
Little Drummer Boy.
Little Drummer Boy.
Ooh.
Absolutely beautiful.
Anything by Trans-Siberian Orchestra?
Okay, that's a little bit
Steel
better.
Panther, Sexy Santa.
Yeah, that's good.
I guess
Or the stocking song.
Merle Haggard's "Make It Through December." That's it's not quite as Christmassy either, but that's just a solid holiday song.
There's no way that entire orchestra is trans.
What band formed the Trans-Siberian Orchestra? There's an 80s metal band that actually was the foundation of.
Oh, I heard this once, but I have no
Orchestra.
idea.
Mike, you know?
Not off the top of my head.
Sabotage.
Really?
They're a progressive metal band. They have Streets of Rock Opera is probably their claim to fame, and they broke up. The guitar player died in a drunk driving accident. He was hit by a drunk driver. It kind of ended the band, but they kept going on, and they were instrumental. The singer Sabotage and their business partner were the foundation of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Still running today. Yeah.
Well, I always talk about albums by experience, except for the Huey Lewis one, but kind of. And I go back to the Vince Guaraldi, Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh.
And, I grew up as a kid just loving, reading all the Peanuts, the paperback books and things like that, just everything Peanuts, loved it. And for some reason, I don't know why, I kind of had a little bit of a disconnect for a while. And then one time, a bunch of us from the TV station where I worked at, one of the guys said, "Hey, everybody come on over." The company hadn't given us a Christmas party or something like that. And we went over, and he was quite an audiophile with a capital A, and he brought out his vinyl of Vince Guaraldi, Charlie Brown Christmas, and played it, and it sounded so warm and so wonderful, and it's like, oh my gosh, how in the world did I ever forget about this album? And so, of course, naturally, I rushed out and bought it the next weekday that I could, and I will never forget that album again. It's wonderful.
Well, it's a great question. So thanks, Clint. Yeah, Christmas. Everybody have a great Christmas, and let me just tell you that. Remember,
Come get your Christmas albums on the extended store hours this week.
Thank you very much. So my sister's been here making comments and watching, and she's been helping me clean up the store. So if you come down here, you'll notice it's a lot less clutter-free down here because she has been helping me organize and helping me out. Thank you, Star.
Thank you very much.
This is my sister, and thank you very much. And we have been doing all that, and so she said since she's going to be here till Wednesday helping me, I'm going to be open some extended hours this week, so we're going to be open Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So if you're here in town, stop down, and we'll be open 12 to 4, and then I'll take her down to the airport after that. So she's going to help me and keep working on that. And as I like to tell everybody, we pick records every week, right? And just remember, with every record, there's a story to be told.
Hey, Star's asking, I know you guys do music, but would you consider movies in your podcast?
No.
Mike has spoken.
Sorry, Star.
Movies and more channeled offshoot coming in 2027.
We might do a soundtrack. We have done those.
We have done some, too.
And we did mention Back to the Future, Star, so...
It's kind of tough. So what we do, our routine here is, since we cannot stream the album and comment on it, we meet here prior to the show and we listen to the album and then we talk about it, a movie is a bit more of a time commitment for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like you guys 2.5 hours worth.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. But
I don't know you guys would enjoy my Christmas movie of the year, or of Bad Santa. I don't think that would go over well.
Or she's saying, well, maybe is she saying what would be our favorite Christmas movie? Christmas Vacation.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Gremlins.
Oh, is that a Christmas movie?
Actually, Better Off Dead.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
is the Batman's Christmas
Yeah.
time.
Batman,
Because when
yeah,
Penguin
Batman
comes up,
Returns.
it's
Yeah.
Christmas time.
Yep.
Oh,
The,
then that's mine. That gets me through Christmas.
Well, I have like 2,500 movies in my server, so I would love such a podcast. It is a time commitment, though.
Yeah.
Brad, any Christmas movies?
Not really.
No.
Nope, not thinking of anything.
It's a Wonderful Life. Love that one too. I should watch that one
You
coming
know
up.
why that one took off? It was a failure when it first came out, and it did so badly that they didn't.
It was a cheap filler for the TV station.
Right,
Yeah.
they did not renew the copyright on it, so it was one of those things that NBC could pick up and run for free. I can't tell you how many times when I worked for NBC I watched that. Well, every Christmas for 13 years.
Right?
Josh, you got a Christmas movie?
Yeah, Bad Santa.
Oh yeah, you did say that. Bad Santa. So,
Just watched it today.
any last comments?
San Dimas High School football rules.
Merry Christmas. Happy
Al Bundy
holidays.
had 4 touchdowns in a
in
game.
a single game.
Single game. And with that, I think we better sign out.
Yep.
So thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Merry Christmas.
Kenny's music and more, a place like no other. With records and cassettes, he's a music lover. Blues, rock, country, and more to explore. 10,000 vinyls and memorabilia galore. Come on down to the shop, there's something for all. Step into the world of music and more, where melodies and memories are in store. From Elvis to polka, we have it all. At Kenny's Music and More, you'll have a ball. A teacher and a DJ with a passion so deep. Kenny knows every lyric, even in his sleep. His collection is unique, a treasure trove. In Bismarck, Indy, it's the place to just rove. In every record, there's a story to be told. Into the world of music and more, where melodies and memories are in store. From Elvis to polka, we have it all. At Kenny's Music and More, you'll have a ball. You'll have a ball. In every record, there's a story to be